right, golden storm break, my wife's favorite picture. So why does this work? This was the vision I had of this months before when I was planning it out, and the reason it works is because this oak tree in the spring is positioned in just the right spot that I can get low to skyline it. The sun sets right in the right spot, and I personally wanted it to be right after a rain so that the water would be running down North Rim. Okay, so now that all those things have been talked about, it took a lot of times to get this, a lot of fails, and sometimes that's just the way it is. On this specific day, after many fails, looking outside, the weather report says it's going to rain all day, probably going to break an hour after sunset. The problem for me is I needed to kind of break right before sunset, but it was blowing like 30 miles an hour. So by the end of the day, it became apparent maybe I need to give this a shot. At that point in time, I essentially get some dinner together, put it in a thermos, everything's already packed. I throw all that in the vehicle, tripod, camera equipment, layers, and then I haul over to the park. I essentially get to the park, it starts raining. I just put the pack on anyway, whatever, I'm here, I just got to give it a shot at this point. As I'm hiking up to essentially the top of North Rim to get to this tree, the clouds start to break. I get excited, I start running. Of course, right when I get to the oak tree, clouds come back in. It's just the way it is sometimes. At any rate, again, I'm committed. So set the tripod up. It's like sustained 30 miles an hour winds. The tripod's immediately blown over. I get the tripod back up, put a pack on it, get my dinner out, set that to the side, set up the whole camera, get the shot framed just in case. And then I essentially throw something over the camera, break my dinner out, and I wait. And I'm just eating dinner while I'm waiting. The rain eventually stops. And at that point in time, I'm reminded it's spring because pollen is being like jet fired into my eyes and it's just full on allergy season. At any rate, eventually the waiting pays off and things start to look pretty good. Obviously, I have a few little concerns left, one of which was like it's blowing so hard that I'm concerned I'm going to get a blurry image, which is not something I usually have to worry about. I'm usually dialing in all these other details, worrying about depth of field, blah, 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 composing the picture. So once all those things were kind of worked out, it became apparent that I had this. And as long as I could keep this tripod steady, everything was going to be fine. So these are just some of the dozen fails I had trying to get this image. All of these days had potential, but they just didn't work out. I received a new pair of hiking boots for Christmas this year. Even though this spot is only a 1.5 mile round trip from the parking lot, by the time I finally got this, they were basically broken in. I think I got it. Can you see this print in your home or business? Shop this and other images in my Bidwell Park collection today.